Good day everybody, my name is Awesomecrunch and welcome to the top 8 ancient creatures in Subnautica. This list will include 8 of the oldest and most terrifying creatures to have existed at some point on planet 4546b, with the oldest being approximately 3 million years old. If you do go on to enjoy the video, please give it a like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Starting off at number 8, we have the various ribs and spines and remains of many extinct creatures from thousands to possibly millions of years ago. These skeletal parts are dotted throughout the Lost River, inside brine lakes, and spread throughout the Lost Forest. It's impossible to put exact dates on these parts, but we can assume that they range between the ages of over 3 million years to perhaps just 1,000 years old. Any skeletons from around 1,000 years ago would have likely been the result of the destruction of the disease research facility and the subsequent release of the Scarab bacterium into the area. The pure size of these remains suggests that whatever beasts they originated from were massive in comparison to many of the creatures which we see today roaming the ocean. At number 7, we have the Ghost Forest Skull. This skull is almost identical to that of the gargantuan Leviathan, suggesting it is either a close relative to the species or was a juvenile at the time of its death. Again, the age of this skull is unknown, but being as it is slightly buried into the ground, I'd say it's probably a couple of million years old. Notice that the rest of its body is completely gone, perhaps suggesting that it is either buried deep underground or has been easily swept away by the current or brine streams due to its small size and likely low weight. Finally, a specimen that isn't based in the Lost River. Coming in at number 6 is the Ancient Floater. Not only is the word ancient in the name, but the PDA reveals that for the floaters to reach this size, it must have leached a composite of organic residues and minerals from the rock itself for thousands of years. This could suggest that floaters can grow to even larger sizes than that of the floating island, maybe to even the size of the island itself. Floaters are made up of 2 different species living in symbiosis, meaning an interaction between 2 different organisms that live in close physical association, typically to the advantage of both. What's to say these things don't stop growing until they reach a size at which the rock or island that they're attached to can simply no longer support their needs due to their huge size. These ancient critters deserve a place on this list simply for their incredible size and exceptionally long, if not infinite lifespan. The rest of this list includes huge story spoilers. If you want to keep it a surprise, don't watch the rest of the video, you've been warned. At number 5 we have the Disease Research Facility Leviathan. The skeletal remains of this vast predator can be found inside the Precursor's artificial habitat at the Alien Research Facility. The most likely cause of death for this monster was starvation, after the destruction of the facility meant that the precursors could no longer feed it to keep it alive. The PDA suggests that this brute died 1,000 years ago, shortly after the release of the Scarab onto the planet. This odd specimen shares many skeletal traits with a biter, however it is a solid exterior shell as well as an internal skeleton, plus forearms. It matches no living species encountered so far, indicating it has either faced extinction or evolved beyond recognition. For number 4, we have the Sea Emperor Leviathan. This is one of the few creatures on the list which isn't extinct or dead. The PDA dates the Sea Emperor kept in the primary research facility as around 1,600 years old, which is well in excess of the peak lifespan for its species, which is part of the reason as to why the enzyme produced by it is too unstable for curing the Scarab. When all of the precursors died off after the Scarab outbreak 1,000 years ago, the Sea Emperor was left by itself to die and is only able to do so when the player hatches the egg, stopping the species from becoming extinct and curing themselves and the planet of the bacterium. Coming in at number 3 is the Sea Dragon Leviathan. Likely slightly older than the Disease Research Facility Leviathan, around 1,000 years old, the cause of death of this beast was a serious head trauma. Found lying in the Lost River Junction, the skeleton belonged to a Sea Dragon Leviathan which attacked the Disease Research Facility in an attempt to retrieve its egg, which the precursors had taken from it for testing purposes. This attack destroyed the facility, releasing the Scarab bacterium into the ocean and caused a fatal head wound, which would eventually lay the dragon to rest. At number 2 is the Ancient Fossilized Skull, also known as the Laboratory Leviathan. Every tooth in the mouth of this behemoth is larger than the player itself. This carnivorous predator would have been larger than any living specimen encountered on the planet, especially if you take into account that this is just a skull, not the entire creature, suggesting that the rest of its body is buried deep into the ground. PDA projections suggest that this fossil is around 1 million years old, making it the second oldest known fossil on the planet. The entry also goes on to say that at the time of existence, the oceans of 4546b must have been very different to support lifeforms of this size, with more open geography and many more lifeforms in the Leviathan range, suggesting that there may be many more, even bigger fossilized Leviathans buried elsewhere on the planet, deep underground. Finally, at the number 1 spot, the gargantuan Leviathan. The skeleton, aged at around 3 million years old, belonged to an enormous, colossal, vast, immense, humongous, gigantic, massive, monstrous eel-like super predator. The Cyclops submarine fits comfortably inside the gaping mouth, and it dwarfs both the Sea Dragon Leviathan and the Sea Emperor. What makes this even more unbelievable is that the fossil that is visible in the bones field is calculated to be only 1/3 of the size of the whole skeleton. According to the PDA, the sheer size of this super predator would have prohibited it from entering such an enclosed space, suggesting the geography of the planet has shifted around it over time. This super colossal creature is likely the last of its kind on the planet. Well, that's it guys, I hope you enjoyed the list. If you'd like to see any more videos like this on the channel, please give the video a like and subscribe, and remember to click the bell icon if you want to be notified as soon as I upload. If you think I missed anything out on this list, tell me about it in the comments below, and if you disagree with the order of the countdown, tell me why. I'd love to know your thoughts. But yeah guys, I'm going to leave this one here, so if you did enjoy the video, please give it a like. If you're feeling really generous, subscribe to MacCrunchy's David. Until next one, I'll see you guys in the next one. Try, my friends.